na keke uhuni se ye yimra kura na se ye simra te se ye yamamre ne yamane na yamane ne yamamre no eno ankasa ne esan ye mra wo your customs and traditions your practices na your practice no mra enti omayimra the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana I just am running to read the Article 11 Clause 2 Article 11 Clause 2 of the 1992 Constitution of the Republic. Or say on my name run there can be the common law, and the common law comprises of what? Your traditions and your customary practices. That means that offer Dagomba for, offer Mamprusi for, offer Asante for, offer Bono for, offer tribes in Nina Kwa for, offer Chese, Frafra for. Your customary practices na a law by virtue of Article 11 Clause 2 of the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. Inti whilst adopted the common law no English speaking countries no on my own bedi subia momra omdidi omomai no and also adopted but a common law no what the year juma a persuasive effect but any binding effect. There me pesa mi chire mu ne say your customary practices no omumre yamra na ye de ebu ye man te say na nanu mama ne ne omamamre ye no eno nye persuasive effect eno it binds us in this all corners asantefo amamre no hene ebe ye bibi ofra kontom ye fun no ye yi a e binde ye nsa asantefo amamre no so okona obi di ehuo e wosremu a de ehuo no ye na amamre ne na mane enti de ehuo no so it binds us but so offer the common law na o fa afira buruchire te say the South African English for no colonize womo o ko bibi te say bia India English for no colonize womo enti omo so mra o madini ho no eno so ye mra wa ha but eno no e wo persuasive effect. It does persuade the courts timi that court ne kakra na no nkyere say court no it binds the court in the absence of say ye ni mra wa ha no then we rely on the common law. Say mra bia ni ha dia then we will rely on the common law. Let us a common law no ye be rely on ye dia adwuma. But in as much as I wa ye mra wa ha na your customary practices no by virtue of Article 11 Clause 2 of the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. That means that customary practices, your traditions any bibia ye mra de ye adwuma. Eno achi no so offer ye mra no ya mane ne ya mamre na enya de afrafrafo omope sa LGBTQ no. Oba Asante form pe LGBTQ no. Oba Dagomba form pe LGBTQ no. Oko ehene fa tribe baby bono form pe LGBT. Ana oba yesum religious practices, religious system. Enso yede ye adwuma no. Eno nso enye LGBTQ no enso ntum. Etito be hu se na kire se sa ya mamre customary practices ni nyina by virtue of Article 11 Clause 2 no. Eno nso enye sa ya de ne ntum. Because ye de ne nyina ene natural law. Senya natural law kra natural law no te say de nyankopon ahyehye the natural law theory ye no kra free ho na legal moralism ye won crophobia legal moralism moral wa esupapa ne what theorist bia omo ye esupapa ho adwuma ebi ne dabbling sa legal moralism no omo suggested that the law should uphold a society's what shared morality. The law should what? It suggests that the law should uphold society's what? Shared what? Morality. It is society's what? Shared morality. No, ebini sense we morality ya senior. Enye suban papa. Nti we suban papa die no. Eno nkyere se oba ne bema beda. Bema ne bema beda. Ana oba ne oba beda. Eno ne ye customary practices no. It would theorists be like Patrick Davlin. Omu nyina no me ya brofo. Omu ye theorist omu believe in legal moralism. Omu de ne say ade bia nyankopon aye na Yesu bampa eno ne mfanya adwuma. Apart from the natural law. Natural law no na ekira wo say oba ne bema ene hia mu no ma wo for procreation. It natural law theorist ewo ho. Ana legal moralism enforce ewo ho. Omu nyina no empene sa LGBTQ no. They said bema ne bema beda anase oba ene ne ba. And by virtue of article 11 clause 2 and so I can say your customary practices as a common law common law comprises of what the customary practices and your laws are yenye free English for no and our common law countries no. But those common law countries in the law it does not bind us, but it has what a persuasive what effect. Not just a convincing, but a nyadi binding. By yen and nanamam refra force the umisi or matare, Asante force the umisi or matare, Asante force the umisi or ban or bada, bema sorry, bemane bemada, ye force the umisi bemada, and not dear it binds us. So the point is, a yeden and anuya, sanyama we abba. What the wise need seeking to do, then they say, oh yes, I the dia, o per busin or per dien ya de bema. Now by biam pese ne penso, or best of financially say, when yeska. Inti o position no started say obese say ninua aka kire ne say ninua no ene pese wo ye wo choso sa gay ni lesbianism no so ebi na His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. I mean no disrespect to His Excellency John Dramani ma oni ni team e sha ase so omoye headed by Sam George. Ayo imagine some be criticize Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and the former vice president His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia say omo amemo ni ye gay to the extent say I mean no disrespect to Dr. Napo omo kra describe say Dr. Napo e kan omo a omo yesa ne ma no bi eti omo de omo ba ya omo betwam to the extent said Sam George or Sam George ya watu wuntu mi radio mu without any justifiable reason. Because when you say want to me radio, so conkrasie bebre mama fotie. Now the reason I'm the two want to me radio me bagism no reason the two want to me I say mo renew every year biano every 5 years bia mo renew but every year bia mo tua ho sika. The chance say mo renew year no ma mama ne enti wato want to me radio e be sisene owura Sam George want to me want to me radio. No hwe yen hwe MPP beba power no so ba power ne say NBC radio stations in our yomosa a bear fair pepe ye bear juma. Such a person or no ankasa and a heading afi or the bill at the court parliament. As a young shambra, our home money may act on our law. Near shambra ni via, never ye law. Young fancy nanado, a point because nanado ni team in ano, or more gayism and lesbianism, and or more because you need straight law, punishes any pano, and ye being fabra. Afi. Ekoya na me fan say parliament ni ebuye ko parliament ni hobi ada nya me ntaado mo amoka ho asem na mo ana mo nso mabaso enti those who preach what Babylon shouldn't practice what Babylon at their backyard, because if you preach Babylon you should not practice Babylon. If you preach against Babylon you shouldn't practice what Babylon at your backyard. Afi dia mo sankrofo we no mo ba ya enam sika aborofo de bebma mo nti no said bill no besan de akoto private sponsored bill no President Mahama wo hono ma say there be bill no SSN ke de kwhye yes various syllabi emu enti wo de kwhye syllabi ni mu a na che say mathematics a ye de gayism and lesbianism ni bi akwhye the syllables no then other you know so e bia religious and moral education yem fan kwhye mi enkyerechire nkwala from primary school enti mfie sen ne de be kyerechire mo awie abragan na betima tena say ayamra a obi betimi de bill akọ. President Mahama fee said Sebi any dimami no disrespect or no nyansani, and he's so smart in such a way that so bit smart the good people of Ghana. Actually say just the question syllabus somebody who was preaching against Babylon and preaching Babylon, also practicing what Babylon at his backyard. After President Mahama and saying now okwaje the doctorate honorary a year or kwakwaje ayamfa ye de man na yasa revoke no. After the wabegina ho say ade here bread and butter and yes anema we ne here na tie ne video o se de Ghana here ne bread and butter aduane ebedie ne here na nye lesbianism. This is where it borders on interpretation, because a president ne kan sama eto so de ko badwembem ansa no wate asenti ne wo bibi e friend interpretation. This wunye obi ma ne kirechiro mu. President is indirectly telling the good people of Ghana that say there a border ye bread and butter there. That means that aduane Ghana fo bedi ne here enti onko kan gayism and lesbianism asem na ya amani sika na emom obe make sure so obe yeso kataso momu aso na abrofo ne de om sika abre no na sa abrofo no kra meme ya pass mra na ya pass. That is the interpretation. That is my understanding of what President Mahama said. Mementi ase no. That is exactly what President Mahama is seeking to tell the good people of Ghana. The person catch Ghana no. I say bread and butter ene ade here into one do pray aduane ebedie. So aduane ebedie dia indirectly he is telling the good people of Ghana ese lesbianism opene so enti abrofo no onko ka o masem enti abrofo no mfa aduane no nye den emre now chief imam ewo hene now asofo ewo hene now prophets ewo hene now evangelist oduro nom ene ade omo wo hene prophet oduro ene pastor oduro eno omo wo hena afedi omo nkasa ntia enkasa nchenchem na afedi omo condemn say president if honestly from never private sponsor bill na fako afedi the president say on pen private sponsor bill name mo pede parliament na nkasa enye private sponsor bill president the oye ni nyina ye krokro de John I'm telling you opeso oya to deceive the good people of Ghana ese ye ni beba ye ho so ana no aye din onka gayism and lesbianism asem the obeya ne se na memu na firi so na the open nyina na ne nsa timi aka. Is that how we reset a country? Keke mibisa kwa ya fa so ye de reset a country no nana eni kwa so yes so ye president a waso afenamu na wasoe. And every day I talk about the preamble of the 1992
okay obi base no ebi obi yes o feel so a year about homosexuality then crowd about no so no dey to abama.
Absolutely enti me no nyina with the same wavelength it obi hwe ho gayism no dey to asori for ni bibiri etutia na na do danko akufu ado amemu efri se omuhunu se president Mahama de oba beyi gayism and lesbianism if all LGBTQ efri honom. And let the president say yemfa nkoshe various syllabi because yemfa nkoshe various syllabi mu a oyehwe enye. So members of parliament omote ho yeden ye ka so be a member of parliament anya kwan no yi o. They are there to make laws. What you say na court no so a church them because they make laws. It's not every law that they make that they themselves understand it. So Supreme Court tries to find the meaning of the omo person omo kire because at times omo kra ye law na the framers no omo kra no ebi na omo nim the omo kire yi but Supreme Court beti ma kire omo adwene a na omo person omo de yes ade ni. So parliamentarians ni go parliament wo ye den a enti omo ntimi make is laws no because the oye nyina na say sika na ye de beba na wo be American for me mo ska biom country we se me mo ska biom enti no de on ka ho asa eno so na would year campaign at the two will be the free so. KK, let me tell you, it's just like a Russia-Ukraine war. And you know now, omudi boy to say yes, Russia-Ukraine war. President Mahama Jina Ghana can say now Russia and Ukraine kwa. A quintentin now would be free Russia bid by bedruha. Then I'll affect Ghana. And Tibet my affect and fu is saying 1 letter is saying 15 I drew 15. The fuel. I don't know. Let me tell you, Iron Ross 17. Iron Ross and Neyama to Iron Ross. Next week, almost 2 cement more baby. A woman the better cement.
Inflation last year, inflation about last year 3.2.
Next week on
inflation above.
Yes, but on inflation was down by cement cost. Now, a new 1 month time now, better Iron Ross ball. Wow, person could be a cotton and temgo. Since body. So when Nana make a chance say, you see when the fundamentals are weak, you see lesbianism and gayism will expose you. Story be expose you. What you say? When the fundamentals are weak, ubu say, sir, cement prices best start to say a cost it will expose you. Enti no kra eye ba ko pe. So ya mem enti na make say also afenemu Anna, you use the preamble of the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. Waka say, wankasa obe uphold, you protect the people, the fundamental human rights, everything. Also, that is the preamble of the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. The Biameka said, I did be what the 1992 Constitution in Bia offer the preamble na. Ne fapemna is siswana. A beginning of a we the good people of Ghana and I say in the name of the Almighty, we the good people of Ghana give to ourselves this particular constitution which shall secure our freedom, fundamental human right, prosperity. A beckoning in a gazing in our capture honor.
Let me but I think Dr. Eboso, and you also made an allusion to same. She said gay community no one
that is so.
Now one name a year or you today. One Love Kubolo Abrantia na onshe mpabua enshe bibesi adross onshe bilo wo so no sa bill yi bai na no na di enje ho. He said you see the President Mahama the stance no na ni age ho pa ono onye for say on so kra but he said One Love Kubolo the musician ono aba betro ewo X say yes say position of President Mahama we take it on the year LGBTQ or in fact the need papa but this was one critic of a year bill it said the need dia and yet said you not doctor can say no we biem ha and he gave for no we biem at the mom he say no the no the here no no the here no yeah boba no
na keke dia no say European Union okra mo parliament so mo court ekra the ruling aba ana judgment a kire say oba na be ma ne be ma so mo court so international court no kra no e dia aba so many ayo African charter ne wa UN charter omo ni nyina no see esa ne ma na wo wani wo so say opesa wo ye no e wo so hwe say e affect o custom and practices are a woman ana because na doctor Ekano the customs and the practices of the good people of Ghana no e bia abhor sa lesbianism no and as gayism and lesbianism LGBTQ e makwan ya mamre ne ya mane so wontimi mfa cultural borrowing e me undermine your rights and as ya mane ne ya mamra ye practice wo man so
Better super papa